So touching on that, our first topic for today is talking about American airsoft versus Japanese airsoft. And a lot of my audience is American. And there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of assumptions they make about airsoft, and they kind of lump it all into like one thing because that's all they know. And then I'm sitting here like, no, you can't just run around a corner and rush like that. If you do, you're done. you're gonna go sit out, right? And it's just like different mentality. So I'd like to hear from you. You went back to the States recently and you were able to play airsoft again over there. Tell me how that was. What was that like after playing sabage for so long?
Yeah, so okay, let's go ahead and start off with let's separate the two. Let's call American, or what we know in the English-speaking Western world as airsoft. Let's call that airsoft. Yeah. And then let's call what we have here in Japan as a survival game or sabage. Yeah, you're using BBs. You're using the same BBs. You're using the same replica toy guns. Yeah. But the culture and the way that it's played and the way that it came up is why it's so different, and why, in my mind, having, roughly 5 years and 6 years on each side, why I like to separate them. I love them both. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to, be looking down on one side or the other, but get to the point is airsoft, especially in the States. I know it's different in Europe from my experience, especially in the UK. It's more milsim and military simulation heavy. But in the States, you have so many different types. You got speed soft, you got casual skirmishing, and you have like milsim, full-on milsim with like, tanks and stuff. Yeah. But my theory as to why it's so different is, remember, everyone here in the audience, that America had paintball for the past 20-30 years, and paintball was that sport/hobby that you shot people with, and it wasn't really looked down upon. It's just like a thing you did on the weekend with the boys or at a birthday party. Whereas in Japan you can't have real guns, and I see this in your comments. I'll just get a real gun, man. I'm like, yep, just 20 years prison, let's go. But that's why sabage, or air guns, airsoft, was invented here in Japan. And that was the reason why, is because you can't have the real thing, so they made the closest thing you can get to it. Yeah. And then that type of gameplay was, kind of modified off of milsim, or since we can't have real guns, let's just emulate what we can with these BB guns. Yeah. And that's why it became one life game modes, kind of militaristic and less like casual. And then in the States, it came from paintball to airsoft, and it became just moving from that style of play and then using airsoft guns for that same style, but then it branched off. Yeah, it branched off into like milsim and casual play. And
speedball, That's interesting. So what, don't they also use like airsoft in Japan for like training? Like, didn't they like the Type 89? Like they literally made the gas blowback Type 89 for the Japan Self-Defense Force, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I've heard that. There's working in a Japanese airsoft company. I've heard that Marui did start making certain guns for training purposes. I know. The other Japanese company that's pretty big here is Sistema. Sistema specifically a weapons training device, whereas Marui was kind of like in the middle. Like, well, we make toys, but we also make replica training devices, cloudy gray area.
It's interesting that the game changes so much just by changing one thing. And I've said this on the channel, like as soon as you change the rule from one life to multiple lives, like everybody plays differently, and they just they let loose, they have more fun, and it's less about camping, and it's really a campy game style. Like I had to learn the hard way. Like for the first year and a half, it was just me going to the same field and playing one life game modes. That was it, and that's all I knew. And then recently, I'd say during the start of year 2, I don't know what happened, but every time I went out to play over the span of 3 months, there was like respawn game modes. Like fields that wouldn't do respawn game modes before, they were doing respawn game. I was like, this is really weird. I was prepared. I was like mentally preparing for this. I was like, all right, I got to try hard. I got to make sure I don't get hit, all that stuff, right? And then I'm going there. It's like, oh, we're going to do counter sand, unlimited lives. We're going to do domination, unlimited lives. We're going to do a fun mode where you have to like bring a tank over and do this stuff. You can respawn as much as you want. I was like, what's happening? And then I went to another field and like, we're doing the same thing. It's like, oh my God, what the heck? And then I went to another field. It was like, the industry, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the tinfoil hat theory, but I feel like they're moving away from the old style of play of, one life game modes to more respawn modes and just people having fun and shooting. And you've told me this before in our conversations, like the average lifespan of a new player for Airsoft is like 2.5 months. It's like is that short?
Yeah, usually less than half a year. We get a lot of new players, especially in Japan, but because of how harsh, I'd say the word is harsh, it can be. People don't stay around long time. Like, for example, go onto any used items website, Mercury, eBay, whatever, Rakuten. See how many used guns are? Read this description. I bet you more than half of those people are like, I played 1 or 2 games of Sabage and didn't like it, so I'm selling my gun, kind of thing. That happens all the time. But going off of that, would you say that the move is a good thing? Because you game. I know you have a gaming channel. I game too. I'm a big FPS guy. So let's say like Airsoft, especially in America, can feel very Call of Duty like, very accessible.
Yes,
everyone can have fun. You can show up as a speed softer. You can show up as a mil simmer. You can show up as a 14-year-old kid with a brand new G&G combat machine. Everyone still has a fighting chance at least getting a few kills that day because you got unlimited lives and you can run around. Everyone's chill. Here in Japan, there are exceptions, everyone here. Don't think this is the only way. But in general, it's not Call of Duty. It's freaking like
Insurgency or Siege.
Yeah, it's like Rainbow Six Siege ranked.
Man, that's what it is. It's the closest thing.
Damn ranked matches, and you're like, this is my first game. And you have a gun that's running off of nickel battery because that's what the guy at the store told you to buy. And you're like, you shoot 2 rounds and you're immediately dead. Where did that come from?
Like, I think it is a good move because the industry is evolving. And and honestly, I think the industry is just inherently it's a very small thing, and it's probably low key struggling as you've seen gun prices going up and everything, and the price of gas is going up and all that stuff. So I feel like if they want to bring in more players from the top down, they have to make it more welcoming. They have to make it more accessible, because I've played with a lot of noobs. Like I'm bringing my friend for the first time, and he quit because he quit halfway through the day. He quit half through the day because he's just couldn't do anything. I had another friend who drove all the way to Tokyo Sabage Park, which is like revered place, Pio-san, if you guys know. You go all the way there 3 hours. He got 3 kills the entire day. He was there for like 6 hours. He got 3 kills the entire day because he just died all the time. So
I mean, I think put it this way. Sorry to interrupt, but all right, so let's say Rainbow Six Siege, any AAA game, $60.
Yes.
You get that game, you suck at it, but you can keep playing it for forever, right?
Yeah, you can just keep trying.
How much is it for a day? Plus transportation, plus basic needs.
Yeah, bro. Like, at least I've calculated it. If you don't have any materials and you've run out and you have to run it clean, it's at least ichiman. Like, you have to buy BBs, you have to buy gas, you have to buy food, you have to buy transport, and then you have to pay for the actual fee depending on the field. If you were nice and you saved your BBs or whatever, you don't have to refill anything. It's like at least 7,000 yen.
Yeah, so what we're talking in USD is like minimum. 7,000 is probably minimum like $60.
Yeah.
And then if you're talking about what he just said, like Ichiman, that's like $80-$90.
Yeah.
Like you got Siege and whatever freaking year pass DLC. You're good to go. But no, here it's like one day of Sabage. It's your first time. You're excited, like I'm gonna be Call of Duty.
Yeah.
You get freaking murked, man, and then you're like,
die.
nah, I'm done. I'm done.
It's done. I think that was I remember my very, very first time playing Airsoft. I remember it was like, when was it? It was like 2019.